It's a brand new week on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this alone. I have the ladies in the building.
Everything just works.
Goes well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's a bright Monday. I love the mustard. Yes, I love. Yeah, we just.
we're all color coordinated.
Honestly, we didn't plan it, but it just happened. How are you doing, Evangeline? How was your weekend?
Doing great. Weekend was good. I was just home trying to relax and bond with the kids. And my husband, he had to go for, I made him go for a particular training. They had this men's meeting by Tony Rappo, which happened on the island. So he didn't want to go. He said, I have to be home. I want to stay with my kids. I said, go, uncle, go and learn. Go and learn what they're teaching them.
What were they teaching them?
I don't know. I just wanted him to have that opportunity to go out. Yes, have such.
Exactly. Which I would have invited to ask my husband to go for
What were they teaching? The people were saying they should just send them.
Tony Rappo was there. Larry Olushola was there.
Okay.
Ramsey.
I saw the video.
Guy.
I saw the video. Larry posted it.
Yes.
And it was pretty. It was crazy.
I just felt.
RMD was there too.
He gave me a feedback. He actually learned a lot. According to him, I've heard all those things before, but
It's good to attend all these trainings. Men are surprisingly as wise as they are, they don't know.
Because Larry was one that handles it pretty much, so we kind of already know what they're learning. But it's good for men. Let's start that revolution for men. Start seeking knowledge.
Well, I know
and get
churches do
information.
men's fellowship, business
Not all
men's
churches.
fellowship.
Trust me.
But it's not as full as when it's a female-based program. Well, everybody will tell you.
When you ask men to come to church, they won't come. When Larry Olushola calls you, Tony Rappo calls you, likely to
you know that's something meaningful.
Hi, Mariam.
Fine, thank you. Our weekend was nice. I mean, we spent yesterday, with Tokwe and her kids and mine. We missed Mariah. Mariah missed the time, so she came later. We watched the movie. The Lion King. It was really interesting. It was interesting. I'd seen it well.
Is it that?
It's the same one, but it's improved. So they don't look cartoonish. So it's not 2D. It's now full 3D.
National Geography.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I kept singing along with the songs. And my daughter was saying that, Mommy, have you watched it before? But then it just brought to mind, something about growth, legacy, and that's the thing. These people do things well. They've done it regular cartoon. They've now in 2019, they've done it in a different way. Can you imagine what will happen in 2029?
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
They're about to do Milan.
They've done the Mermaid now.
Oh, they've done
Little Mermaid. They're about to do that.
So they're just tapping into this generational thing because our generation.
We would watch because we remember what it was like, and our kids would also watch.
In 9 days, he made almost $1 billion.
They broke every record.
9 days.
That's how you plan your business.
This is just a business. Somebody's idea, and it's paying off.
That's what somebody just scribbled a sketch of something, and then generations after, people are
here
still
just talking
watching.
English.
God give us capacity to envision something great, My weekend was really busy, interesting. I went to moderate. I was supposed to moderate over. I ended up speaking at the Digital CEO conference, and it was pretty enlightening. A lot of young people that have businesses, all of those people that were there actually had ideas and businesses, and the place was full. They were standing. A guy came from Ghana and was saying, Nigerians are hustlers, Shada, because if it is in Ghana, those guys standing, they will have just said, I say, Charlie, I cannot stand. They would have gone. That these guys are standing, and because they really just wanted to learn. And so it's pretty interesting. Then I got a pillow, as usual, and making my collection at home. Yes, my husband said, no more pillows, let them monetize
I love those pillows.
But they're really good, and I feel
she has 5 pillows. What is that?
I love those. I love those
them at some point.
I just have to put it in office, car. The kids love it in the car because they can sleep on it. I mean, I have one, Lagos State one, I put it in the car.
The young people are not lazy, Murayo. That's just what I have to say. That
young people
Nigerian youths are not lazy. They want to work. They want to learn. They attend programs. They are willing to push themselves.
It's just the conducive environment.
Parents need to understand and push them and help them and just make that thing worthwhile for them. It's not easy. Yeah, so I watched Lion King also. I was supposed to actually go on Saturday with the ladies, but I know on Sunday, after church, I just go, your brain is this automated. After church, remove your clothes, go to the kitchen. So I was in the kitchen and I was making Sunday rice. I made the rice, I had the fried rice, cut up, but I was When my kid just said, Mommy, I thought we were going to go and see the movies. And I was like, I screamed. I looked at the time, it was 2:22. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in trouble. And I called you. I was like, oh. So we ended at 5:30.
Oh, you have wonderful kids. My kids check the time.
No, I didn't.
They check the time. Like, I didn't tell them we were going to be meeting anybody, but they were checking, Mommy, when is the movie? Mommy, when are we going? Mommy, I'm like, okay.
I didn't tell my children because I knew they would have stressed me. So I just waited until we got there.
It's Monday. Lots of stories to talk about. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the top stories of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Starting with The Nation. I didn't even see the picture of these kids. What's happening? The children choir performing during the African Church Cathedral 2019 annual harvest in Lagos. Okay. 3 more hurdles to set for will-be ministers. Row over account with 50 billion naira. Southwest to roll out security plan. VP visits Channels TV reporter's family. Troops kill 6 in Katsina and Kaduna. Banks, their customers, and unending bouts. And NURTW factions clash in Ibadan. Let's start with the VP.
Okay, yeah. So the Vice President went to visit the parents of the youth. National Youth Service Corps member that passed away, that worked with Channels. And, you know, they were commiserating with the family, and the father said that what makes him so sad, he said, well, this has happened, you know, life goes on, but what makes him sad was that he heard what happened after his son was shot. He was first taken to a hospital. The hospital said they couldn't handle the case, so he was taken to Garki Hospital, where the doctor that was supposed to be handling that particular, his case, was not around. So he was saying that, you know,
so it just made immediately.
Yeah, so he said that it just makes him think that, so if the doctor was there, maybe my son would have made it, you know, and just brings to mind a lot of the things that we're always talking about here. Not only do we have dilapidated buildings all around, but we do not have enough doctors, or we have in our own case, sometimes people are not just there.
They're not available because if they're on shifts or something, and then he's been up all night doing work. So
we don't have enough doctors, so they're just running up and down.
Sometimes you don't have the equipment.
Really, really sad.
There's another case there, Edo State Police down on red, written in red.
Oh, soldiers stabbed drivers.
Yeah, stabbed a private individual. They had... The guy was towing his boss's vehicle because he had a problem, so he was looking for a roadside mechanic to fix the car, only for them to ram into the hillocks that the soldier was driving. And then they got into an argument, and the soldier picked up a knife and stabbed him and ran away. So, but he's been picked up. They're saying that he must face the law. In as much as he's a soldier, he's not above the law. So I just want to see how prosecution goes.
Moving on to The Punch. Overcrowding, poor facilities worsen students' woes in federal government universities and hostels. Take complaints to Senate, Presidency replies ministerial list critics. Tenant kills Lagos landlord, dumps corpse in septic tank. Police tighten security, court decides El Zakzaki's bill today. Invite Buhari over the $1 billion excess crude account fund, PDP urges National Assembly. FG US sell $42 million designing allies luxury yacht. We talked about that. That was, I think it's Kola Luku's yacht. Remember when he got that time, Galactica? Don't reappoint Ngige as Labour Minister. NLC wants FG. And tragedy as gunmen kill 60 mourners at Borno graveside. All right, so let's start with the septic tank. What happened?
So I have the story. This man, Daniel Isaac, is 38 years old. He was a tenant in a compound. This happened in Ikorodu, Ikotu area. So he wanted to steal his landlord's car. I think the landlord is into car dealership, so he brings in different cars to the compound. So this particular day, he targeted everybody out of the compound, and then he strangled the landlord and threw him into a septic tank, then made away with his car. So while he was trying to sell the car outside, he was caught by the police, and he confessed to the crime. He had a help as well, and accomplice, confessed to the crime. So,
the major headline also drew my attention, the fact that there was overcrowding, poor facilities, worsen students' woes in federal universities. And there are pictures here, actually in Punch, of all the various hostels. There was Mandela Hostel in Port Harcourt. There's University of Nigeria in Enugu campus, the hostel. And we have, I think, Obafemi Awolowo University Ile-Ife. That's Adekunle Fajri Hall, and other places within the university.
So, you know, and ABU Zaria, my alma mater as well, is on the list. That's the thing. So, You see, this is just indicative of all that's happening in our country. Things are just falling apart. We're talking of hospitals, now we're talking of hostels. So what we have is that we have overcrowding. We have even more students who are going to these schools that were originally established for a certain number of people, but we have a lot more than that. So we have people queuing up. I remember while we were in school, we never queued up, but it was even harder to keep those toilets clean. But now it is even harder because not only are the facilities not enough, then you have people just messing up the place.
And they're
talking about why we have more students right now in the hostels than it used to be. They said the price of rent, rent has gone up, and then insecurity in places like Port Harcourt. So people want to be in school.
So in a room for 4 people, you have like 12 people squatting in there.
The challenge now is, before, when we were talking about primary and secondary school issues, it wasn't under the federal government. This is particularly under the federal government, and we have a ministerial screening taking place. I want to take the story about the president saying through his spokesperson Garba Shehu that if the anti-graft war is not something that only the president will fight, Nigeria mistake thinking that only he alone will fight the anti-graft war, that everybody should be involved, and that if we have any issue with all the ministers that has been nominated, we should take it up with the Senate. That was his instruction to us Nigerians, that take up your issues with the Senate. It has moved to that level now, and we have a long list of people that should be thoroughly scrutinized in that version that we're just told to take it out and go.
We can take it up. They've given us the free.
No, but it's take it up with the Senate. That means the Senate has done their part. They've confirmed them.
Good to go.
So it should be beyond that.
To Vanguard, it's risky, illegal to outlaw Shiites. Can Shehu Sani others speak up? Edo Assembly Crisis, Buhari directs Obaseki to issue fresh proclamation, says El-Rufai. Ondo Assembly snake saga. I won't succumb to blackmail, Akeredolu tells lawmakers. Safety audit NCAA confirms Air Peace fleet airworthy. APC PDP in verbal war over the excess crude accounts of $1 billion. Apapa Oshodi gridlock presidential order task team fail. I wish I told you. I wish I could say I told you so. Anyway, I want to take the major headline, this the Shiite story, because Khan Shehu Sani, who is the former Senate from Kaduna State, was saying very clearly that it is wrong to proscribe them as a terrorist group. And I mean, today is pretty. Today also is a day where the court, I think El Zaki actually filed for opportunity to go and get healed or get treatment abroad, and so that case is being brought to the court today.
His bail is
but what's even looked into? Sorry,
I said they're trying to look into his bail conditions today. Yes,
see if he's able to be given allowance to actually travel. But what I want to talk about was what Shehu Sani was saying very quickly, that we shouldn't outlaw a group that we can see, that we know their address, they have a leader, they are Muslims, these are people who are law-abiding. Yes, there's a group of them that are violent, but you shouldn't prescribe a group that we can actually see. Now, if you do that, it forces them to go underground and make them even more volatile in future. And he also said that a few things that we can do. Get the Emir, the Sultan of Sokoto, to give a guarantee to the federal government that once they release El Zakzaki, that they're going to ensure that there's still peace in the land. And secondly, another thing they are advising was that they should ensure that IMN does not cut off all the relationship with any country outside Nigeria, any international relationships, at least to ensure that their movement is strictly within our own borders. But President had also responded.
Presidency replied that the IMN they're twisting the story, that they've been proscribed is to prevent and discourage violence, that the banning is the large number of people that are moving on the roads and all of that, saying that we did not ban them from their 5 daily prayers. We did not ban them from going to Mecca to perform holy pilgrimage. That IMN is misconstruing what they're saying. So it's the violence, the protesting that they are banning. So I think that it should have been very clear, because when you prescribe a group...
No, but you're not banning. They are saying that they are terrorists.
Yes. How do you prescribe a group? Say, I'm only prescribing part of you that's violent, and another part that actually... So it's not really straight.
The federal government shouldn't be in a hurry to easily prescribe. I think they should look into, listen exactly what are they presenting.
We don't know why they're presenting.
That's how they prescribed IPOB. And now we're prescribing IMN. Can we deal with the issues?
Let's move on. That's what Shehu Sani is saying. Okay, let's move on very quickly. Let's just take the list on quickly. In move to tackles insecurity, Southwest Governor's perfect security master plan. Leah is still alive, says father. Bloodbath at Borno funeral. 30 killed by gunmen. Route gap to take off soon in Nasarawa, reveals Governor Sule. Let's move on very quickly now to Daily Trust. Boko Haram kills 65 mourners in Borno. Senate to screen Saraki, Fashola, 7 others today. INEC to open defense against Atiku PDP today at the tribunal. Okay. Any stories that you want to run for it? Go?
Yes, Les Sharifu's father says he believes his daughter is alive. The video that came out with the lady who was recently abducted, he says that if you could see that she was hesitant to say that Leah had passed.
That's his own interpretation.
Yeah, so he believes that his daughter is still alive, and he's begging the federal government to see that she's
We all
set
hope
free.
she's still alive, because honestly, it's in our interest that she's alive, because it's really hard on the family at this time to feel or to think that their child may have been killed. All right. Let's go on a break. It's Monday. We have lots of topics to discuss today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Report has it that the National Youth Service Corps has met with registrars of 159 foreign universities in Africa, accusing some of them of selling their certificates for between 300,000 naira and 500,000 naira each to unqualified Nigerians. Now, this obviously has become a concern for the NYSC because, according to them, there's been an upsurge in the number of students applying for the NYSC program. So what are your thoughts on this? You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We'd like to hear from people who actually have experienced this, or you know somebody who actually paid for a certificate from outside the country. No, just tell you can say, I know my cousin did it or something. Okay. You never know. But I'd like to, because we need to confirm if actually this happens. NYSC is saying that lots of students coming from various African countries, and what they do is that they go to these universities to get the certificates so they can then be eligible to go for the NYSC program. So
for me is, thank you NYSC for identifying this problem and for also taking steps to see that it is curbed, or you know that the Nigerian space is protected. So we have, it says, an upsurge of graduates who cannot defend their certificates. The thing is that, you know, the academic fraud is a global thing. I mean, we hear stories even in America of parents paying for their children's way to, you know, to a certain type of school. So first of all, I'm just happy that this time around we are saying Nigerian is sort of taking a step.
We're talking about the step that we're taking, Mariam, because according to what you said, the step the NYSC is taking is appealing to the Nigerian consulate abroad.
It's not
they said that to help them check, to verify, to ensure that these are authentic certificates before they're only going to accept candidates who have gone through that verification. But do we trust the Nigerian consulate? Do you think?
Oh, I do. I hope I can trust them. I mean, if you put them out there, who else will you trust if you cannot trust the consulate? So I'm just hoping that, yes, we can do that. The thing is, if we can get the authentication, if we know that there will be another step to look through what we are just, you know, what we have paid illegally for, it would reduce the numbers probably by half. You know, at first, if you know you're just going to pay for something and just bring it straight home and then get away with it. But if you know that there are different steps that people will have to scrutinize your papers, maybe then it would stop some people from doing it. But another thing I want to say is that the NYSC have been known to do this. I remember during our time, a lot of people were actually sent away from getting fake results from our schools here in Nigeria. So even though we're getting fake results from outside, there's even a much bigger problem. Yes, but there's also a much bigger problem here in Nigeria.
I would see, I'm seeing a lot of loopholes in the story, because I know that schooling abroad is more expensive than this place. And if somebody has to pay 500,000 or 300,000 to get a result, that another person who goes through the four walls of the university spends about 4 years and pays nothing less than 500,000 for a session, which I know their fees are very, very expensive. It will not be profitable for the universities to engage in such. So I think that they should dig deeper into what is really happening. It could be that there are a lot of fake people out there who are using fake certificates in affiliation with the school or without the school, just, you know how these fake people work, use those fake certificates, sell it for that amount of money, because I have people who school in Ghana, who schooled in Cotonou. One of my PAs did in Cotonou, and I know how much she paid for a session. So if you're going to reduce the amount by divided into 4 for fraud, it's not paying you as a business.
Well, just to answer that, they had a meeting with these schools, so it is possible that it's happening. And then you're looking at, and then you're looking at countries like
a person individual. Yes. So I would also add that the accounts that those people who get these certificates from should be verified. If it's the school's account or an individual's account, we need to be sure of.
They'll do their due
and then you're looking at countries like Uganda, Liberia.
Usually, the way to fight crime or criminality is through punitive measures. When America, in recent time, sentenced Felicity to prison, that is punitive measure. Yes. When I see 2 or 3 core members that they were supposed to be core members sentenced to prison for falsifying, they are old enough, they are adults. Anybody that is going to be 7 is going to be above 18, so you're an adult. If your parents do something on your behalf, you will be penalized because you willingly allow them to do it. So by the time they see core members 1, 2, 3, 4, who are, the case was all over media, and then they were penalized, they spent 3 years or 1 year or something in prison, you don't need to be appealing to other countries. The students by themselves will not take their 2 legs and go and get the certificate because they understand what is at stake. You invalidate their certificates, they will spend time in prison, which means they are a criminal. Nobody will do that. But when you're using lip service and doing talk shop, because every time there's corruption, there are multiple people involved. You can decide to investigate it, but you can do your own part. You can't control what they do in Ghana, South Africa. They are independent countries. What you can control is what you do in your country. So within Nigeria, what the NYC team can do is to ensure that there is stiffer punishment for anybody caught with this, and naturally any other person that's trying to do it.
In Nigeria here, I know that there are a lot of people who buy certificates. I had students from my school who dropped out along the line, and they said, don't worry now, we'll use money to buy it. And today they have the certificate. So let us start with cleaning out our country. Because the thing is, right here in Nigeria, we have half-baked graduates who cannot even write application letter from our country. So it's not just about people coming in.
We can do it simultaneously.
We can do both.
But my question, you have not answered my question. I think Mariam tried to answer my question. Okay, the NYSC is hoping that Nigerian consulates in these countries can help them verify.
Authenticate.
Now, do you feel that the Nigerian consulate too can be compromised? Because if the schools are allegedly being compromised,
they are Nigerians.
No.
So how? They are Nigerians. Out of every 12, there will be a Judas. So you can't. This is a country where in this Nigeria, we have a long process for fuel subsidy. Yet people create fictitious accounts, bring in fictitious. So
what better ways do we ensure that what the certificates coming internationally? I know when I came, nobody went to
authenticate
They didn't try to authenticate me. I gave my degree, but I can't remember. Somebody asked my transcript. I'm not sure it was NYSC, but my original transcript came from the school directly.
So Morayo, if we want to stop this, it is. And like I always say, we do half-baked situations when we can actually be more holistic about our approach. So we want to improve educational sector. We want to screen and ensure that anybody that gets through NYC actually deserves to go through NYC because it waters down the effectiveness of what you're doing. If somebody will just come from behind the scene and comes in, so it is very bad. So I think that, yes, holistic approach should be taken. I believe we should trust our consulate. That's because we're on TV, we can't. We should, not because of... No, we should trust our consulate because we see that, honestly, there are a lot of work going on in between. Many people have been calling, when we open our phone lines, people calling to say that there's been improvements in the consulate.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. We should applaud them, not because we're on TV, please. Because, I mean, if we say we can't trust them, then I don't know where else we'll go to. And then I just wanted to add that when I said, parents should also be prosecuted for this, because parents are in it with their kids these days. They pay for the children. So if the parent is locked up and the child sees the parent locked up, another parent will not want to do it. And it's the parents that provide the money to a student that would go and try to do this. Then secondly, I'd also want to applaud. I want to say NYSC has been doing this for a while. Let's not just think that NYSC has not been doing this. I remember when I used to work in the bank, 2 of our staff were actually let go because somehow through NYC, their NYC certificate, they were able to find out that the certificates that they used to be able to get their NYC certificates were fake. So they got in touch with the school, who got in touch with the HR company and sent these people out. So NYC has been doing this for many years. So it has moved from just Nigeria and now maybe to other African countries. Yeah.
So finally, I think we should just trust our conscience. Let us believe that we can do what is right. Yes, because if you train children to understand the value of work, you know that you won't take something you did not work for. So if we trust that I can read and pass, let's just follow that and teach our children right.
Again, we're thankful to NYC for starting this initiative, and parents to also ensure that they verify, make sure that the certificate your child is bringing it from Angola, because parents just do assume, because you'll be surprised. They always verify to ensure that it's actually authentic. Yeah. Okay, so that's all we can take on that. When we come back, we're going to focus a bit now on insecurity. We've been talking about this for the past 1 month, I believe, almost back to back. Today we have 2 special guests in the building. First, we're going to have a former lawmaker. He's a former lawmaker in Lagos State. I think he just recently released a book, and he'll be talking to us about politicizing this issue of insecurity. And later, we're going to bring a renowned Oba, an existing Oba, to come and tell us, because I know that recently the Obas and other leaders within the Southwest had a meeting to discuss what their plans are to protect the Southwest. So since they've been telling us they have plans, okay, we have one of them here to tell us what the plans are, and exactly his own experience too. As a former soldier, I think he actually fought in a war. So he's going to tell us what we can do and how we can ensure we don't get to the point of war. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk to this gentleman. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So according to reports, some Nigerians are accusing the present government of politicizing security issues, while some are saying that they are subjecting community to threats of its own survival. How true is this? Joining us on the show is a former member, Lagos House of Assembly, Honorable Segun Olulade. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, you can join the conversation on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Recently, we had a conversation with a former minister, a minister. Yeah. And he was telling us that things are not as they seem. He was trying to tell us that it's not as bad as it looked. And I know the vice president tried to echo it when he tries to travel to America. And we kept saying, what do you mean by that? He was trying to suggest that there's a bit of politicking going on in this. Could you explain, is there really a situation where they're politicizing it, or is it exactly as it is?
Well, let's take, for instance, the issue of the woman that was killed recently. You will recall that immediately, without no investigation, somebody went on the media and says that it was Fulani Herdsmen that killed the woman. In any civil society, it is expected that the police will do their proper investigation. Once you fix them in a particular, or corner them in a particular position to say it is these people that have done this, you have erased every other avenue they could have also tapped to investigate the matter. And that's one of the reasons that you will agree with me that is a lot of things are being politicized. Look at this issue of the Muslim Shiite issue. When you look at the Shiite, the man is not, his sect is not the only Shiites in Nigeria. Even in Kaduna, they have about 3 of them. But his own, they will not vote. They do not believe, they have their own governor, they have their own president. Yes. They have their own army. And the kind of information that the president will have as the commander-in-chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is not the kind of information that we have here. So when an action is taken, it's for the interest of the generality of Nigerians, and we must look at it that way. When we talk about security, we must not allow politics, ethnicity, religion, or whatever to come into it. Security is about security of lives and property, as it affects everybody, irrespective of your class or your background. or your religion. So we must take it serious.
So you know, some people have open letters. Okay. You know, the open letter from former President OBJ, the Alaaffin's open letter, and you know, there's this brooding of we will defend ourselves. We will defend ourselves. We have what it takes. And so Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu mentioned that why this entire situation is taking a different coloration than what the reality on ground is. So we don't know what the reality on ground is because we're in Lagos. We only hear that they brought in cattle to block the road, and then there was a kidnap taking place after that time. Yeah, or we heard there was a gunshot after the cattle blocked the road and all of that. But what is, from your own information, what is the reality on ground, and what should Nigerians believe is going on in the Southwest?
When we talk about kidnapping, for instance, it started with the Niger Delta issue. That's where the issue of kidnapping started in Nigeria as it is. We have never known anything about kidnapping before now. But when it started during the Jonathan and Niger Delta, even before Jonathan, that was that's when they started the issue of kidnapping. Business. And now they are seeing it more like a business than what we are looking at it. People are not just being kidnapped because of the issue of of insecurity, so to say, but for economic purposes. That's why you see that a lot of them, when they pick you, they come up with ransom and all sort of things. So when you now look at it and say, a criminal will always be a criminal, irrespective of where you come from. So crime must be addressed as crime. Okay. When you look at it and people start writing letters, and I think we should just sit down as a people and see ourselves as Nigerians, be patriotic about this issue. We keep telling ourselves that you are Igbo, you are Hausa, you are Yoruba, you are ethnic, your religion is Christian and Muslim.
People have called others naive and almost closed-minded for not seeing the bigger picture. We always hear it as if there is an agenda. We've heard words like Islamization, we've heard, you know, those Christianization or whatever it is, Fulanization. And then when you try to say, I don't think that's what's about, they think that you're not being smart, you're not being wise, that there are things that are happening below the surface that you're not. Please, do we have, can you put, yes, is there anything happening below the surface? Is there an agenda that probably we don't know about?
Let's be sincere with ourselves. From this part of the world, I was born into a Muslim family. I am a Christian today. We have, look at Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a Muslim. He marries a Christian, a pastor. Look at the former governor of Lagos State also, BRF. He's a Muslim, and his wife is a Christian. So it shows the level of tolerance that we have played here in this part of the world. But when we come back to the issue of maybe there is undertone in the way things are happening in the country, it's just because that is that's a political agenda by some set of people. If I'm a PDP, I will condemn anything that this government is doing, even if they are doing it right. And that is the kind of politics we play in this part of the world.
But let me jump in.
Yeah, so, okay, let me save that your question for him. But I've seen different sociocultural groups always giving the government an ultimatum. We give you 27 days ultimatum to release this person. We give you 7 days ultimatum from the southeast, southwest, and all of that, even the north. And I know that they are agitated, they are upset with what is happening. It seems like the government is not, like the presidency is not really handling the issues, coming out to say, okay, we need to prosecute so and so people, we need to see prosecutions, we need to see people arrested for these crimes. We just say, okay, I've gone to this place to tell them sorry, don't worry, we are having a meeting to look at it, and we're not seeing results. So, but the way of the ultimatums being given by this sociocultural group, is that the way to go? Because so far so good, the government isn't even responding in the first place.
Yeah, the government won't respond because you are sectionalizing the country. We are talking about Nigeria as a nation. And by virtue of that fact, we must understand that Nigeria, irrespective of where you come from, when people start talking about sectionalizing and say my socio-cultural group is fighting for somebody, we have not yet seen ourselves as a nation. And that is what we must disabuse the mind of the people. And I think the National Orientation Agency have a lot of job to do. Also, the information minister, whosoever is going to be, must come out heavily this time around. And I must also ask the media to help us as a country in this country.
Okay, let me come to this media helping you, because I mean, everything you've been saying sounds a bit familiar. When I say familiar, it reminds me of when during Jonathan's regime, people were saying they're politicizing Boko Haram, politicizing this. And now you're in power. And you're saying people are politicizing. You brought this upon yourself because you did exactly the same thing when PDP was in power, because you politicized Boko Haram. They, oh, Chibok girls are missing. Hey, everybody was shouting up and down. Yes, Chibok girls are missing. But the point is that you are saying today that they're politicizing insecurity. Why would I believe you? I don't believe you.
Yeah, you have the right not to believe me. It's your right. It's your personal opinion not to believe me. But I'm saying this, that even what we saw during Boko Haram days is not what we are seeing today. We are seeing there's a systematic action going on in the system that nobody is. When you talk about security, it's not everything that we have to come on here to say this is what is happening, because it's about security. And that is very, very important. And you will also see a lot of that even in my book that I wrote, The Millennium Perspective. Yes, I wrote a book concerning, we have a lot of things to discuss on the book. The issue of insecurity is being addressed in the book. And I believe that a lot of people will benefit from it.
Okay, let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation with Elenia. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Yeah, Toko had a question.
You know, I feel a bit like we're hiding from the issues on ground, because I remember during Boko Haram, some people were saying it was false. The PDP were saying that Chibok didn't happen. They were saying that the kidnappings were staged, managed, and that the killings that we're seeing are inflated figures. But when we think about it now, being that I've been on this program and I've been watching the news, I know that those things that we're saying that time were facts. Sure. Could it be that the same thing is happening to us, that the people in the political class are in denial and telling themselves a narrative that suits them, that no, it's not that bad. They're just politicizing it because it doesn't favor them. When those that are being affected, those that their farmland have been taken over, those that can't walk freely on the road or drive their big cars to travel because they are scared that if they see my car, they'll block. That's the reality on ground. And politics is saying, no, it's the opposition. It's the Kidiko.
Now, let me come in. I would say that I won't be part of the people that will say it's not that bad, because a life loss means a lot. Now, when we now look at the issue of being exaggerated, yes, I agree that cases, because of political undertone that we have in it, we find out that a lot of people now want to do political propaganda by saying even when one person is killed, they turn it to 100. In order to exaggerate it to the level that everybody will be in fear and say this government is not acting or is not serious about the issue of security. But I must say this, that, like I said earlier, it is important that we love our country more than any political undertone or political affiliations. That's my own position.
But what qualifies you to talk about? Because I was asking you during the break that I knew you as the head of chairman committee on health. So you now say you have a book concerning health, concerning security. I'm wondering, how is that possible? What's that about?
Well, the book is just, I wrote something about insecurity in it. But I've been the chairman committee on information security strategy and publicity in Lagos State House of Assembly. And that gave me an opportunity to also understand some of, and I was brought up in the barrack. I was born by a soldier man, so I understand some level of insecurity and security of lives and property.
So the problem I see is a problem of crime, which has an ethnic face. So crime is being perpetrated, people are being killed, people are being kidnapped, and we know that with all those people on the street are not even the real culprits. We have the people who are giving them the arms. We have the sponsors. It's like a network. So are you telling me now that our security officials cannot find the people responsible for this network? Is that what they're telling us, Nigerians?
No. What we are saying is our intelligence gathering is very, very poor in this country. We must accept that. The issue of state police that everybody has been clamoring for is the answer to some of these issues. And when you look at it, when they colorize crime, that's when you see a Yoruba man dressed like a Fulani man to go and commit a crime. And they target a Fulani herdsman. And that's one of the reasons we need to address that issue of removing ethnicity, religion, or whatever that anybody want to bring in, and politics, and allow the government, because we are talking about life here. We don't just play politics because I want to be in a position, and because of that, everybody must die. And I'm less concerned about it. And that's one of the reasons I say that patriotism is the key to what we have. We're having in this country.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up with you, but thank you very much. I know you have a book coming up very soon. The launch, when is the launch coming up?
On Wednesday, at the podium.
Okay.
We've sent our invitation out, strictly by invitation.
Okay, congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk to one of our Obas, the Oluwo of Iwo. He's here to tell us what the Obas are saying and his own views on how to tackle this issue of insecurity. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us for quite some time. The incessant insecurity around the southwest has become intense with the influx of herdsmen around the territory. According to reports, the Yoruba Council of Elders have called on the Yoruba nation in Nigeria to be awake and brace themselves towards the halting the insecurity in the country. Joining us on the show is our very special guest, the Oluwo of Iwo Land. Oluwo of Iwo Land. He is the Alashelori Orisha, the Arole Eledumare, and the first of 10 kings in Yoruba Land. Kadepelori Kibata Pelese.
First.
Kabiyesi. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So,
one of the first.
10
kings.
Yes, 10 kings in Yoruba
One
Land.
of them, yes.
You're welcome, sir.
You're welcome.
Kabiyesi, this issue of insecurity has taken a toll on the southwestern side, and we know that lots of meetings have been ongoing amongst your other Obas and other security operatives. Also, Elenio, just the former lawmaker in Lagos State, stepped down and was alluding to the fact that there's a possible politicizing of this insecurity issue. In your own view, where are we? Do you trust that the government is actually working towards ensuring that we secure the southwest, or what also are the Obas doing to ensure the security of life and property within the zone, southwest zone?
First of all, I'm going to thank God, first of all, to give us wisdom to resolve this issue in Nigeria. And then what is going on in the southwest, it's not a matter of the southwest alone. It's Nigerian problem, not a southwest problem. If there is insecurity in the southwest, then it means there is insecurity in Nigeria. Because any travel advisory to Nigeria from overseas, it will not only say southwest only, to say there is problem in Nigeria. So how do we resolve this issue? We have to come together. The problem of the herdsmen is not a problem of today. There's educational issue. First, we see Fulanis in the southwest that we have not been our brothers' keepers for long. We see them they are living in the forest. They know the forest more than many people. They live deep, deep in the forest. And they have never been educated. The ones in the southwest, they only do cattle rearing. So, and you're watching them, you are in the city and you're doing you are using cars and everything, and these people are in the forest. What do you think will happen one day?
Eventually.
What do you think will happen?
But sir, you're alluding to the fact that the crisis is actually carried out by herdsmen. But what we've heard so far is that while genuinely there are farmer-herder crises on ground, the issue that has made every South Nigerian worried that lives in the Southwest is the kidnapping, which isn't necessarily carried out by a sect, but carried out by by criminals. So how are we dealing with the fact that there are criminals, elements within our society, masquerading and using whatever works for them per time to carry out their actions of crime?
I want to ask you a question. Has vote buying ever happened in Nigeria before? Before this time? No. Vote buying for 10,000, 5,000 naira? Has it ever happened?
We saw it first in the 2019 election.
Okay, so what makes it happen? It's because there was corruption in the law. The people that you didn't take care of, that you stole their money, what are they trying to do?
Get it back.
They're trying to get their money back. That's why elections is more expensive. It doesn't happen in any nation in the world. So why are the people that, the Fulanis that are very quiet, very peace-loving people before, well, we know there was jihad before, yes, but now, these people that lives among us that we've been, I'm the largest host of Fulani in Osun State, the Fulani Herdsmen, and they're very peace-loving people. We've been living together, but then it comes to a time that they themselves sees that there is no future in herding anymore. There is no future. There is crossbreeding now. There are ranches. So what about the ones that are older? We need their children to go to school. Then, first and foremost, we have to make a law, enact a law, and implement that law, enforce it, which is, if you catch a kidnapping right now, there must be a death penalty. This time, we are not dealing with humans anymore. You don't apply human laws to animals. I'm not talking about a particular tribe, kidnappers, whoever it is. You arrest them, fast judicial process, give them the death penalty, and that will stop.
Nobody wants to be the hangman anymore these days.
What about in America? Is there death penalty in America?
Yeah, but see, here everybody has given their life to Christ. Nobody wants to be the hangman. Nobody wants
you don't go for the hangman. There are injections. You don't. You know, in America they don't do the shooting.
In the beginning, there's a was put out by Oduwa People's Congress.
Okay.
And we were saying that they would have struck and put an end to the herdsmen issue in the Southwest, but that the Yoruba leaders stopped them. So, you know, and I was happy to hear that, because we have had someone come here and told us the history with the Fulanis in the Southwest. They have intermarried, they have children, some of them speak many of them speak the language and things like that. So when we hear stories of, we're going to put an end to Fulani herdsmen, we understand that there is crime. So it's good to, what I'm saying is that it's good, yes, it's good to be able to say we are separating the crime from the person or from the tribe. Is this something that is agreed by all Southwestern leaders?
No. OPC is a Nigerian group, Yoruba, and also the Fulani. Who are they? Are they Nigerians?
Yes, they are.
So are we trying to do ethnic cleansing? Are you trying to go against? So do we have Yorubas living in the north?
Yes.
So should they kill those people in the north too? Because because some of them committed a crime. Is that what you want to do?
Let me just interrupt a bit. Some people have said they've been caught, kidnapped, and then when they speak, they hear them speak Fulfulde. They speak Fulani language.
Listen, crime is committed everywhere in the world. And when there's a particular tribe that you think, allegedly, think it's committing this something, what are the problems? What can we do to stop them? Peacefully. There should be laws. There are soldiers in this country. We have military and security personnel in this country. We have to encourage them to do more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a few months ago, the federal government got a license to give the Fulani herdsmen a radio station specifically for them. And one of the reasons they gave was the fact that they wanted them to be educated. They wanted to be able to speak the language and teach them how to live and how to relate with people. And a lot of people fought against it, saying that if you give the Fulani man a special radio station, you have to give the farmer a special radio station, you have to give IPOB, you know, people just came up with. So do you support that move of the federal government? Because I see you as a peacemaker.
We need to be more, in Nigeria, we need to be more patriotic. We need to know if we identify a problem within a particular race or tribe or people, how do we resolve it? Do we resolve it as they are not Nigerians? So what do? The Fulani herdsmen that you're talking about, there is a problem. What makes them, when they were peaceful before all these years, why are we politicizing some issues? Are they committing this crime? If they are committing this crime, what should we do? And what I said, the solution, I met with, I spoke with the chairman of Miyetti Allah, Kiruwa, his name is Alhaji Kiruwa, and he said many of these Southwest chairman of Miyetti Allah, they will visit me soon. So, and what I said was that it's not just, the education is a long-term issue, but what we need to do now, the older ones among them, take like 1,000 among them, get them from different places, take them to Texas, where they have the ranching in the modern style. Fulani has a very good network for them to pass information. If you take these people and let them see modern way of ranching, other than walking cows from here to Ibadan, the cow is, do you see how skinny some of the cows are? Because they walk a long distance. When they come back, they are hungry again. Okay, so what do you, excuse me, I want to tell you about this. When you take them to this place where they make modern ranching, when they come back, they have seen it practically.
They can explain to their people.
They can explain to their people and tell them, even they will tell them how you don't have to be living in the bushes
anymore.
And come into light. Okay, we have to take people from darkness into light.
Let's talk about the crime part, because a lot of people are scared. A lot of people can't travel. I mean, somebody got an invite to Ikiti the other day for a burial, and he said, I am not going, I beg, they'll send my money. That's the reality. People don't want to go on the road
There's
anymore.
problem.
Now, in the past, I know my stories my father told me that, Ariana Kakanfo, the generalismo of the Yoruba land, you know, when things happen, your fathers will give you stories of what happened, one tribe came, when they defeated them, they did this, they did that, and you hear these stories, and suddenly this happened, and you now think, okay, where are they? Okay. The Obas, those the defenders of the land, where are they? Because everybody seems to be in their nice Banana Island houses, they are with their Rolls Royces, nobody is on the road. So who is there to protect the Yoruba man right now?
Let me tell you, there is what we call Nigeria. There's the Nigerian security, and I still believe I have confidence in our security system. Let me tell you, warfare is not like what you used to think before. Don't talk about this one. Can they carry the arms that we're talking about? Sophisticated arms. We're talking about RPG, rapid propelled grenade. We're talking about our horses. We're talking about anti-aircraft, BZTs. We're talking about, we're not talking about Shakabula. No, we're not talking about all those, and you use voodoo, or you want to use voodoo. Believe me, let me tell you, when jet fighters rose up, you can't even see it when it's coming, because it's almost invisible, jet fighters. When they go on top of you, the whole place is destroyed. Full stop. Don't even try to think about war or start a war. Anybody that you won't be wearing agbada in times of war. You will never wear agbada in times of war. You won't see your kids anymore. You won't see your wife anymore. Yes. Rape is on. There is the banks will be looted. Everywhere, there is no food. The only food in this country can only last maybe for 10 days. After that, there won't be no food, no electricity supply.
Putting fear in our mind. We don't want war.
Let me tell you, it's not. So anybody should not be clamoring for war at all in this Nigeria. We don't want that. because we want a future for our children.
Yes.
There is no future after war. Liberia, Sierra Leone will tell you. Rwanda will tell you.
Syria will tell you.
Syria will tell you right now. So please, a Lebanese man will tell you what happened in just
so let me quickly ask this question, because
yes.
Tying into what you're saying, I want to acknowledge the fact that we've seen a downwards incidence of downwards in terms of incidents of crisis, kidnapping in the southwest. That's a fact, because it's not being reported. We're not hearing of shooting as before.
Yeah.
However, you've said that you house a lot of Fulani people, but when the Ruga situation came up, a lot of people, not even southwest, southeast, kicked against it.
Yeah.
Would you have supported Ruga in your land, being that they've always been with you in the bushes anyway? Would you modernize them and give them a property they will stay and grow, a platform for education, since you have lived with them peacefully?
Listen, rearing of cattle and stuff like that, the Ruga something, I think it's just federal government trying to find a peaceful solution to this. I believe Herdsmen, it's a private business. And ranches, like I said, you have to educate people in a modern way of farming, cow farming. Yeah, so don't say, Ruga is not what anybody would want. I believe the government should find a way to educate these people in a modern ranching way. And then, what else you do? They are private businesses. I can't say because I want to sell my pepper that somebody should give me land to sell.
Well, we do. We give farmers land.
You give farmers land, they buy it, they pay. So are you going to, so those things, I believe it's a private business. Everybody should find, but these people should be educated in a modern style of
there also seems to be really, I think there's mistrust, distrust between the Southwest and how they see the Fulanis right now. Because there was a time when they were talking about vigilante groups, and it was suggested, I think the Fulani suggested that they could help in some places. I think it was in the Southeast, across the Southwest and the Southeast, that they could help with the local vigilantes, join them and make it like a joint effort in protecting these areas from the criminals. And everybody said, no way. I mean, if these are people we already say we have a history with, we have intermarried with them, they have lived in our forest areas for so long, why is it that we can't trust them to join forces with our forces?
It's not only Herdsmen issue that is causing kidnapping and problems in the Southwest. I can tell you that gold mining also is a problem.
Yes.
You can see in Samvara today, I spoke to Bishop Matthew Cooker. I don't know, he got my number and he called me this morning, even this morning.
Okay.
And I don't know how he knows about me, but he called me this morning and told me about the daily killings in Samvara, daily. And he has some, my governor, Governor Oyetola, he's doing a very great job. What he did when this thing was going on was that he said, and he has spent a lot of money on this issue, and he said, we are banning mining activities. If you put a ban on mining illegal mining activities in all those places, they are banned in Samvara now. And also, these people that came down to Southwest for mining purposes and they can't find it, what do you think they will be doing?
They will resort to crime.
They will resort to crime. There is no more armed robbery now. The new
kidnapping.
Something is
So in your
kidnapping.
open letter to the president, which I know you recently published, sent that out recently, what were the solutions you suggested for the presidency? What exactly are you asking the government to look into?
There's three aspects. First, to stop this, is death penalty for kidnappers and some other crimes. There's rape also. There are many other things. And you can see that in China, they still have death penalty for many crimes. In Saudi Arabia, they have. This will put a stop, because we Africans, and today, we are still living like in 2,000 years ago. Yeah, we're not civilized yet. We need to be civilized. And I'm telling you, We need to grow from, there are many sentiments and many, there's a lot of superstitions that still rule our mind.
Right.
Set. We need to know that where we are now, there are people who are, have you heard about, you're talking about this Fulani Herdsmen crisis and everything. Do you know the daily murder that is happening for traditional rituals every day? Ritual killings. Bado is in Lagos State, smashing people's head just to get an handkerchief to put in the blood. There is hand being cut off every day. What kind of law do you make for these animals? These are animals. These are not humans. You don't make human laws for animals. So there were in the past, do you know that the Romans, the Greeks used to have a fighting arena?
Yes.
But they stopped it now.
Gladiators.
Yeah, the gladiators. So what is happening bad in our tradition and culture, we should take it out.
Right.
This is killing our children. 10,000s are dying every day. You don't know. We should be over 500 million right now. But traditional rituals. We need to implement a law. This death penalty law should be.
So, sorry.
You only said one. You're going to say two more, right?
Yes. You are not.
Yeah,
I'm talking about educating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not only just formal education, ranching.
Okay.
These people have been involved for thousands of years in cattle rearing.
Okay.
So give them a hope, give them a future in what they like.
Okay.
First thing. The former Western education, kidnapping, and some other crimes should get death penalty. We should bring that back.
Right.
Now.
Okay.
And then the third one is, I think I've talked about education, ranching, and then
those are the three.
Yeah,
okay,
those are the three. That will take care of it and nip everything in the bud.
Take a few to and come to you.
So, Omo Jakaban says, the security issues bedeviling our country, especially in the north, are symptoms of a failed unitary system of government, where the federal government gives monthly allocations to the states and local government. True federalism is the solution. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, you see, people always call for reconstruction, restructuring and stuff like that. I don't. Devolution of powers is the best. Devolution. Where we got the democracy is from the UK. They practice devolution of powers, and that's what you share powers to the states, to the regions, and that's how you do it.
Sir, I want to ask you a question.
And everybody will have there will be competition. Everybody will have their what? Everybody will have a law that guide their states, their state police, and then people will be in a competition of developing their state.
I want to ask about
Northern Ireland and Scotland. They have devolution of powers. They're in the same UK. So the people that taught us this democracy are in those states. So why are we not doing it?
Okay, so I wanted to ask about local intelligence, because we know that while we trust and hope that our police and the military will be able to implement peaceful, bring peace into the states, we understand that the information needed are at domicile with people. They know this bush, this is the path. I've seen them pass through this path, but we don't trust. And they've advised consistently that our traditional rulers are the bridge between security officials, because they're closer to the people. People know them, they trust them, they've seen their generation, their fathers and all of that. And they're able to easily explain the strange movements they notice to traditional rulers as opposed to going to the police. What are you doing? You are a premier Oba, right?
Yes.
And then you have like 35
kingdoms
under
kings,
you. With kings under you.
Very ancient kings, too.
So you are in the prime position to liaise with these people that are around you to get information. What have you done in your position to get your Obas to talk to their people and get information to work with the Nigerian police force?
In 2017, I foresee this problem today. And I visited the Fulani settlement. They call it the nomadic settlement, which is, we call it Ga Fulani. I visited all of them, and I see the problem that the schools nobody is going to the school. The girls the female children they are selling wara. It's like cow milk, but solid ones, and yeah, and then the little ones are still doing cattle rearing. Nobody in school, and I told them. I even tell them that and threaten them with the arrest, that let these kids go to school so that they will be the future. They are living in Iwo. I am their king. Yes. To a Fulani man, a Kano man that is living in my domain, I am his emir. To a Igbo man that is living in my domain, I am his Igwe or Obi. So I want to see them as my children too. They've been living with me for over 400 years. Where are they going? So I'm being patriotic to go to them. But one thing is that traditional rulers don't have that fund to do a lot. Okay. We are, especially there are states that are still young that don't have these resources to pay traditional rulers to actually move. I move with my own resources. I move into these places and I take care of them. Even I call them to the palace and told them about modern ranching. I discussed with them. We on the table. The Cherokee Fulani, all of them, all the Fulanis are always called to my domain, to my palace. Right. Because you see, this is the problem that we need to be more patriotic. Unfortunately, when there's problem in Nigeria, among the tribe, we should see them as we are all
Unfortunately,
Nigerians.
we have to wrap up. This issue of insecurity is something that we can't obviously exhaust in one show. We're writing to all the kingdoms. We're writing letters to Obas. We're trying to talk to Obas in the southeast also because of the issue of ranching and Ruga. So we're trying to get as many Obas as possible. If we have to go over there to this east, we'll go there to do the show from there. But the idea is that let's talk to the local Obas, because of the local intelligence that is required for the security operatives to be able to secure us better. So we're starting with the southwest of it because it's closer to us. We plan to go south, north at some point, and southeast also to talk to the various Obas and see what they're doing to help ensure, to support the security operatives, to protect the lives and property of people. That's all we can take. Thank you very much, KBC, for coming on the show.
Have a wonderful
able
one.
to express yourself
God
the way you
bless
wanted to. All right, have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.